Well, what up, my road dogs? How we doing today? All right, we're talking about surface area. So, I mean, we've talked about this before. It's a lot of triangles and a lot of rectangles and squares, and just figuring out the area of them and then adding them together, right? Because it's a three-dimensional shape. So we got this box right here. This girl Alaya, I don't know. We'll paint the outside of a box with three different colors: green, red, purple. Decide how she could paint the box. What is the total area each color will cover? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of like figure out the surface area of each side of the box, right? So I'm going to do the left side first. Okay, and that's going to be 16 by 14. It's the same thing, right? So 16 by 14. So then you just multiply them together because that's how you figure out the area of, a rectangle or a square. You just multiply the base times the height. That gets us to 224 inches squared. And then the right side is actually going to be the exact same thing because that's the beauty of having a square or rectangle shape, right? Like this, like a box, right? So then we'll do the top, right? So if we do the top side, that's going to be 32 by 16. That's a 6, by the way. So let me say 32 by 16 gets us to 512 inches squared. And then the bottom side is actually the exact same as the top, right? So it's 32 by 16 again. So that's 512 for the top. And that's a little dot right there rather than the subtraction sign. Now we've got the front and the back. So we'll do the front side. That's going to be 14 by 32, right? We'll do 32 by 14 kind of just to go with the larger number first. That's going to be 32 times 14 gets us to 448 inches squared. And then the bottom side is the exact same dimensions. So we don't have to do the math again. So now we've got three colors. Now let's break it out. I'm going to use green for this. And now it's a little confusing because there is a green in there, but whatever. Just want to change different colors. Let's say that I want to do, and honestly, this is kind of how you want to paint this box, right? Or how she wants to paint the box. So you can have a lot of different ways to do this. Let's say that I take the left side as green, and I'll say green is going to be the left side. So that'll be just 224 inches squared of green paint. And let's say I want to do the red side, the right side in red. So that'll just be 224 inches squared. And let's say I want to do the rest of it as purple. So like the top, the bottom, the front, and the back. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to add, so let's see, let's do green for the left, the red is right, and then these guys will all be purple. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add all those together, right? So it's going to be 512 plus 512 plus 448 plus 448. You could also write this as 2 times 512 plus 2 times 448, right? So then, yeah, let's just kind of add them all together. So 512 times 2 plus 448 times 2 gets us to 1,920 inches squared of purple paint. Okay. That's and that's how you do this, right? This is a three-dimensional shape. You're figuring out how much paint is needed to cover it. So that would be it. And you could like mix this up. You could be like, oh, I want to do the front and the side in purple, right? So you'd say take the front and the side and add those together if you wanted to do that. But it kind of just however you want to do that. A city planner wants all neighborhood parks to have more green space than non-green space. Does this park meet the requirements? Explain. Um, oh, okay. All right. So we got to figure out kind of all the little different shapes here, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to figure out the non-green shapes and then compare it to the green shapes. So for the green shapes, we'll call this A is going to be 24 by 14. Okay. B is going to be 11 by 24. Okay. C is going to be 24 by 24. But since it's a triangle, we're going to actually multiply that by a half. I probably should have put that in front, but what are you going to do? So let's figure out that. This is the blue shapes or the non-green shapes right here. So 24 24 times 14 gets us to 336. Okay. 24 times 11 gets us to 264. And then 24 times 24 times 1 divided by 2, 0.5 is the same thing, gets us to 288. And then we'll add those three together. So I'll do 336 plus 264 plus 288, right? 336 plus 264 plus 288 gets us to 888 feet squared. So then now we'll do let's call DEF. We'll do DEF for the green space. So D is going to be 14 by 12. E is going to be 35 by 12. And then F is going to be same thing, 24 by 24 times a half. Okay, so then we'll just go down the line here. 14 by 12 gets us to 168. Okay, 35 times 12 gets us to 420. And then we've already done the math here, so we know that's 288. So we don't need to recreate the wheel here. Now we're going to add them all up. 168 plus 420. Oops. Plus 420 plus 288. So that's 724. And let's just show the work here. 420, 288. Add them all up, gets you to 724. So, feet squared. So yes, the non-green space has more. Let's see. City planner wants all neighborhood parks to have more green space than non-green space. Well, that's actually not the case here, right? This park does not meet the requirements because it has less green space. So this park, somebody's getting fired for that, does not meet the requirements because, and I like to do B/C for because, it has less green than non-green space. Uh-oh. Somebody's getting in trouble. Okay. This diagram shows the area of the room to be carpeted. What will be the area? So similar, right? I've got A, that's going to be 5 times 6, and then B is going to be, let's see. So this basically, if it's 9 total here, you know that this is 5, so there's going to be 4 left over. So it's going to be 4 times 6 times 1/2 because it's a triangle, right? So it's going to give us 30. 4 times 6 is 24. Half of 24 is 12. Let's see, 4 times 6, 24, half of that. Yeah, so 30 plus 12 is 42. The area of the new carpet is 42 inches squared. Okay, constructing a model building wants to cover the outside with paper. How much paper will we need to cover the entire model? So this is there's kind of a lot of work here, right? So we've got basically it's a cube, but then it's got like a 3D triangle on top, right? A triangular prism. So we'll do the backside here. That's going to do, I'm actually going to lay this out. We call this a net. Okay, this would be the back side of the house would be 12 by 24. Okay. And then we'll do the bottom is also going to be 12 by 24. And then this side, the front side, is going to be that same dimension, 12 by 24. Okay, so that covers the front, the bottom, and the back. Now we'll do the sides. There's going to be 12 by 12. And there's 2 of them, right? 12 by 12 by 12. Okay. And then the triangle right here, let's see, has a height of 20 centimeters. Or the whole house is 20 centimeters. But if it's 12 and then 20 centimeters, sorry, and part of it is 12, right? And so then that height of it is 10. So the height of the triangle is 10. We're getting a little kind of like in the weeds here. The height is 10, and then the base is 12 for those triangles, right? So then the roof is next. That's going to be 10 by 24. And there's two parts to the roof because there's the back of it as well. And that's also 10 by 24. So we got a lot of stuff to do right here, but it's easy because it's all rectangles and triangles, right? So we'll start with the roof here. We'll do the roof, okay? That's going to be 10 by 24, but there's two pieces that are that same exact measurement, right? And then we have the front, back, and front, bottom, and back. So we'll say front, bottom, and back is going to be 1, 2, 3, and then 12 by 24. And then the sides, there's two of them, and they're 12 by 12. And then the roof is 2, and it's, let's see, 12 by 10. But since it's a triangle, it's times 1/2. Okay. And so this is kind of what we put in the calculator right here, right? Because you want to speed things up. So on whatever job site you're going to have a calculator, right? So it's going to be 2 times 10 times 24. So we'll just do 2 times 10 times 24, and that's 480. And then we've got 3 times 12 times 24 times 24. That gets us to 864. And then 2 times 12 times 12 is 288. And then 2 times 12 times 10 times 1/2. Now, some of you are going to be like, well, why did you do 2 times 1/2? Because they're just going to cancel out. Well, that's true. But, we're doing the math right here, so we might as well. So that's plus 120. Now, I'm just going to add them all up. I've already kind of set up the problem, so I can just put this in the calculator. So it's going to be 480 plus 864 plus 288 plus 120 is 1752. What is it? Centimeters squared. Ooh, man, it's a lot of paper. Yeah, that's how we do it. Okay, now we got something similar here. We're just figuring out the surface area of this kind of cube with this like little peaked roof on it. So since it's a cube, it's 6 by 6, right? We've got the net of it laid out where we kind of like unfold it. Right? Similar to what we did here. We kind of unfolded that paper. This is 6 by 6, which is 36, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So it's 5 times 6 times 6, right? So we'll just pop that in there. 6 times 6, right? Gets us to 180. Okay. And then this one, we've already got it all laid out, right? It's 6 by 4, but since it's a triangle, it's by half, and there's 4 of them. So we'll say 4 times 4 times 6 times 1/2. Okay. So 4 times 4 times 6 times 1/2, or 0.5 is the same thing. So that gets us to 48. And then we just add them together, right? So 180 plus 48 gets us to 228. 228 inches squared. There you go.